Welcome to True Crime Faith and Chocolate. This is just a really quick case update for the big headlines as of today. As I'm recording this, I'm recording this on September 3rd, 2024. Very quick video to give you a basic rundown. For those who are new, I am Annette Lyon, USA Today bestselling author of the suspense novel Just One More and a whole bunch of other stuff. I'm also a Latter-day Saint, true crime junkie, and alcoholic, which is why we are here and we talk about all of this fun stuff. So we've got Daybell, Ruby Franke, and let's see, those are the two big ones. And then Shanna Gardner and Kouri Richins. You can see some of the stuff I've done recently about them, and there's more coming up as well. So a couple things of note on the Daybell case. The most recent thing is that a judge has determined that there are, quote, exceptional circumstances regarding Chad Daybell's appeal, which worried me when I first saw the headline, to be honest. But what that means in this particular case is that there's just so much stuff to review to make sure all the trial transcripts, the evidence, there's just so much. So the lawyers, the appellate level, whatever they're doing, I don't know the terminology right now, and at this point it doesn't really matter. The point is, they said we need more time to go through everything before we start filing stuff that would move the appellate process forward. And as a reminder, this is an automatic appeal because Chad got the capital punishment. He got the DP, as they say, to avoid the YouTube things. So it's an automatic appeal. So they have to go through this process, as you should for any capital case, because taking someone's life is a serious matter, but they just need more time. And if you followed the case at all, you know, yes, there's a ton of information, so much information, that it makes sense that they would say, well, we can't do it in the normal time frame, please give us more time. And the judge said, yes, you can have more time. A couple of other interesting things. The Daybell property with a house and all the land has been sold to an anonymous buyer. Interestingly enough, though, this anonymous buyer or buyers, they almost immediately put out a press release about it, saying that they were hoping to make a beautiful park or something like that, a place for healing, and that they would talk to the family and the victim families, and work with them. Problem is, none of them had been contacted when this press release went out. This was all brand new to them. And that was, I don't know if that was just a big PR flub, which it was, but that doesn't sound like they're already working with the families, and that's not cool. And so Kay Woodcock, if you'll recall, was JJ Vallow's grandmother. She tweeted almost immediately saying that she did not want a memorial at the location where the children were buried. She wanted a memorial somewhere else. And Colby Ryan, who is the last living child of Lori, he also said that he had not been contacted and hoped that they would, but they hadn't been. And so there's been some uproar about some of that. I can't see anyone wanting to actually have a house and live there, for obvious reasons. I can see not wanting a memorial directly, because they would feel like this is the place of the crimes, especially that's where Tammy died. We don't know if that's where JJ and Tylee died, but that's where they were disposed of, and horrible things happened to Tylee, likely there or nearby. So I do hope even if it's just a plain old city park, because I know like the home where BTK's family lived, it has been raised, and it's just a regular city park. So it's not even acknowledging him because he's a horrible, awful sociopath, but it's also taking down the house. So it's not there anymore. So I hope it's something like that. I hope they can work something out with the families that everybody can be happy with. Some people have asked me, and I don't know the answer to this. So if someone out there does watching this, let me know about what the Daybell kids are doing and what their lives are like, specifically Emma and Garth within the Rexburg area. Because both Emma and her husband, Joseph, I recall, if I remember correctly, Joe Murray, and Garth, all three of them were school teachers. And I personally Garth's a little wishy-washy and whatnot. I don't have quite as strong opinions about him, but Emma and Joe were so offensive to me, standing by their dad, being, you can go back and look at my video about Emma and the crap that she did and sticking her tongue out behind the journalist, and she just, it's gross. Joe's comments about police and how that's the last possible job he would ever want, just gross stuff. So I do wonder, have they lost their jobs? Because I wouldn't want my kids in their classrooms. Yeah, Garth seems a little more reluctantly supporting his dad, if that makes sense. And I don't know about the other 3 kids. Have they woken up? Have they paid attention to the trial? Did they all just avoid the trials altogether? Because if they watched it, they would have to see that their dad is not this prophetic, wonderful man that they believed. But I don't know. Another thing to note with the Daybell situation, Colby, as I mentioned, Colby Ryan, Lori's last living child, he has his own YouTube channel, which you may be aware of. He is doing more on it now, and he recently did a react to listening to his own jailhouse phone call with his mother after the bodies of the children were found. And it was fascinating. Most of us have, if we followed the case, you're aware of this phone call, you've heard it, but to see Colby reacting to it years later, you know, knowing, I mean, he said that obviously when you're making a jailhouse phone call, you know it's being recorded. You don't know that the world was going to hear it. And also, but you could just hear his raw emotion, the anger he had, and he's pointing out some things in there, like his mother's just pure narcissism, because he doesn't even mention other people. And she's like, well, what about everybody else? And he's like, I didn't even mention anybody else. I'm talking about you, Mom, and my siblings and me, and that's all I've mentioned. Great video. I will link to that. Hopefully the rain outside isn't getting too loud. Lori's trial is still listed in her Arizona trial, I should say. Her Arizona trial, where she'll be tried for the murder of her, third husband, Charles. And you start losing track after a while. Anyway, so Charles Vallow's murder, as well as the attempted murder of Brandon Boudreaux, who at the time was married to her niece, Melanie, who was very much a daughter figure, and Lori herself was a mother figure, because Melanie's mother died. Stacy died, I think, when she was somewhere around 6 or 7 ballpark. Again, suspicious, weird circumstances surrounding that, or at least very weird family dynamics. Odd. Yeah, so, and then Melanie, some people call her Melanice to distinguish her from Melanie Gibb. So Melanie the niece versus Melanie Gibb. Annie Cushing, who is Joe Ryan's sister, so Lori Vallow's second husband. She's been doing some great follow-ups about the case, and again, still trying to get the case open on her brother's death. For those who don't know, he died the spring, I believe it was March or April. They don't know the exact date because his body was found 1 to 2 weeks after he had died. He was severely decomposed when they found his body in his apartment. And at that point, it was a little too late to figure out exact cause of death, but they think it was coronary heart disease. However, there are so many strange, weird, suspicious things surrounding that as well, that it seems maybe something else, especially since we know that Lori has money as a motive in a lot of the things that she does, and she was able to get money from his death, and then, of course, Tylee inherited Social Security money from his death as well, which then Lori took after she did away with Tylee. And there is a definite history of her saying things like, oh, you know, I wanted to murder him, so I told my bishop I had to get a temple recommend or I would kill him. That's not alarming. What? And then there was also apparently a plan for Alex, surprise, surprise, Alex to tase him, put him in a trunk, drive him off, and then do away with him. He did tase him, and apparently in the privates, and Alex did time for that. I don't know about the rest of the plan, but the fact that there had been a plan to get rid of Joe, and then suddenly he's gone. And so, yeah, he died the spring, either March or April, I believe, of 2018. And so that is the same year she and Chad met. So it's actually pretty, I thought that Joe died earlier, but he died pretty dang close to when all of this started, which makes it even more red flaggy for me. So definitely go watch some of her stuff. Annie does a lot of great information. She's put so much work into trying to find justice for her brother and to reopen that case, asking all kinds of good questions about who knew what when. It's really fascinating and disturbing. Also, in Lori's case in Arizona, we know that there will be cameras allowed in the courtroom. Yay, woohoo, we got that judgment. Thanks to Justin Lum for that. He is with Phoenix, I want to say Fox 10, something like that. I'll correct that if I'm wrong, but he's an investigative journalist who's been following this from the start, and he's the one who put in the motion, or whatever they call it from journalists, the request for cameras in the argument, and that was granted. So, yay. On the Ruby Franke front, we had just passed the 1-year mark of when she was arrested. So her son Chad, the oldest of the sons, posted on Instagram a prison anniversary post for his mother, saying that, a year ago his mother was arrested, and how he, at the time, he had been working as a lifeguard, made barely enough to pay for his rent, I believe, and then pay for Jody for her therapy sessions, which is just messed up. And of course, her family is paying Jody through the nose on other things. Jody's bilking other people. She didn't need the money, this poor kid. But yay, at least he's free of some of that. Poor guy, though. And then apparently in June of this year, he also posted a kind of a joking video saying, "Oh, I got a tattoo of my mom," and he posted, he just showed his arm with like the supposed tattoo cream on his forearm, and then he wipes it off and there's nothing there. And he kind of has this little sarcastic look on his face. Because, as if he would honor his mother with a tattoo. Now, interestingly enough, the parole board is not meeting when we thought they would. So we do the thing is, so in Utah, and this law needs to be changed, it drives me crazy, but Jody and Ruby did get the highest sentence they could, the most severe sentence. But under Utah law, at least for now, that meant 1 to 15 years. That's it. And how much is up to the parole board? So, that's fun. And I believe, though, that I think they had at least 2 counts, so they could be up to 30. I have to double check that. I used to have this all off the top of my head, but it's been months. But the parole board was originally supposed to convene to discuss their case on August of 2024, so just last month. That didn't happen. It has been rescheduled. And they won't meet to discuss Ruby and Jody's case until December of 2026. And at that point, they will have been in prison for 2.5 years. Or at least since their arrest. Not since their sentencing, but since their arrest. So at least they're, for sure, serving more than the minimum. Well, let's just hope it's a whole lot more than that. They're nowhere near done with their sentences when the parole board actually hears from them and goes over their case. But we have well over a year until that happens. Again, let's hope they get even more time. The last 2, real quick, actually 3. We have 2 pretrial hearings coming up, both on September 23rd. One is the next one for Shanna Gardner, who is going to trial for the murder for hire of her husband, Jared Bridegan, in Florida. She is the heir to the Stampin' Up! Fortune. You may also have heard the case referred to as the murder of the Microsoft executive. That's going to be a pretrial conference, which just sounds like it's mostly just housekeeping stuff, nothing too exciting. The real exciting stuff happened between May and August, between the Arthur hearing and the Richardson hearing, which I have videos coming up on those. You can go back and watch the one I did about her lawyer's press conference, which got me really upset and mad, so I had to record that one first. And then on that same day, September 23rd, is the next hearing. Again, pretrial hearing stuff for Kouri Richins. She is the one accused of poisoning her husband, Eric, and then going in to write a children's book about grief and helping her sons through the grief as they lost their father after she allegedly killed him. Tail end of August, she had her preliminary hearing. It was a 2-day affair. I covered that. I'll link to that as well, where both sides were putting forth some of their evidence about why she should or should not be bound over for trial. And the judge determined, yes, there is enough evidence for probable cause to at least try the case. So she's not going to trial on September 23rd, but that is the next pretrial hearing. Again, probably housekeeping stuff. So nothing too earth-shattering there. The last little bit is Taylor Frankie Paul. I have a video coming out about her very, very soon. It's ready to go and it's scheduled to come out Thursday morning as I record this. It'll be coming out on September 5th. Morning of September 5th, a whole video about Taylor Frankie Paul and the upcoming Hulu TV show, The Secret Lives of Mormon Wives. As you can imagine, I have thoughts. And if you don't know her situation, or you might have heard about her, she was the one who got she and her friends doing the whole soft swinging thing all over TikTok, and it blew up. And shocker, shocker, everybody involved is now divorced. Oh, wow. Didn't see that coming. And then her complete breakdown when she was arrested and charged with DV, domestic V. So, sad stuff there. But that video is coming out Thursday morning. Watch for that. And yeah, I have a lot of other stuff coming down the pike. Like I said, I've got videos about Shanna's Arthur hearing and her Richardson hearing. The Arthur hearing is the one for whether she would be getting bond. She did not. And then the Richardson hearing was because of her skeevy lawyer. It's safe to say he's unethical. He's not doing illegal things, but he's doing unethical things, which, you know, you can argue that's what a defense lawyer is supposed to do, everything he possibly can within the system, and he is. But he was throwing all kinds of crap, spaghetti against the wall to see what will stick, accusing the prosecution of wrongdoing, accusing the police of wrongdoing, saying the entire case should be thrown out, saying the entire state attorney's office should be off the case, saying crucial evidence should not be allowed in, even though it was gathered legally. So the Richardson case was all about that kind of stuff. Oh, and then also Brady disclosure stuff about evidence disclosure on time and what discovery and whatnot. Supposedly he hadn't been given information when he had. Crap like that. That was the whole Richardson hearing. But at this point, it sounds like Judge Kite has said no. She will not get bond, and B, yes, this is still going to trial. So those were those two big hearings. I'll do a whole rundown on those. I've actually filmed it. I just haven't gotten it edited and put up yet. For Shanna Gardner, again, accused of the murder for hire plot for her ex-husband, Jared Bridegan. So those are the big updates right now. I have a case that I haven't touched on yet. I have a whole list of things I'm going to be following and whatnot, and in the upcoming months, as well as old cases that again, deal with religion and true crime. And I have so many actually still with Latter-day Saint crime, but I'm not sure when I'll be going to other faiths. But at this point, I'm still trying to at the very least touch on my faith and at least get some perspective. And again, for anyone who wants to come in my comments and yell at me about evangelizing, I'm not trying to convert anybody. I'm not trying to defend bad behavior, anything like that. I am just trying to give an insider's perspective as an active Latter-day Saint. Especially like the Daybell trial in particular, there were so many moments where I was like, oh, if you're a member and you know what that term means, like within the culture, oh, that meant more than you thought it did, you know, so scripture stories and whatever else. So yeah, I'm getting a perspective you're not finding anywhere else, but I'm not trying to convert anyone or anything like that. So thanks for watching. Please like the video, give us a subscribe and notification bell button hit there. We appreciate it so much. And we'll see you next time. Go get yourself some chocolate because you deserve it.